there is something about the 60th that people have been talking about quite a bit recently. Something that doesn't quite add up with regards to Doctor Who's timeline, and that is Yasmin Finney's Rose. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video where today I'm going to be going over a Doctor Who theory that may well just change the 60th forever and a few of the implications for this theory itself. But before we get into it, if you could do me a teeny tiny little favour and click that subscribe button, it'd be very much appreciated. We are trying to get to 21,000 subscribers by the end of this month, and we've just passed 20,700, which thank you all so much. The support's been great. I really can't thank you enough. But with that said, let's get into the theory. So as you know, Yasmin Finney is playing the daughter of Donna Noble named Rose, presumably after Rose Tyler. However, there is a discrepancy with this character. Yasmin Finney herself has stated that Rose Noble is 15. However, the end of time takes place in 2009, and there's no implication of Donna being pregnant around this time. So if we assume that Donna and Sean had this baby around 2010 time, that would only put Yasmin Finney's Rose at age 13. So why would it be that there would be this aging discrepancy with the character of Rose? Is it just a simple mistake? I don't think it is, because Russell T Davies is very intentional with his world building. The dates, the years, locations, phrases, things that reoccur constantly through the first RTD era, very much not by accident. I think that this could be the key to the 60th, although at the very least could mean a few things for it. Number one is that perhaps RTD's era is set a couple of years in the future, so maybe like 2025, 2026-ish. Not so far in the future as to be unrealistic, you know, we're not going to be seeing flying cars or anything like that, but far enough into the future where Russell can kind of untether himself to current sort of events and kind of cast his own little universe within Doctor Who without having to reset to the status quo. This could explain things like the new political party known as Albion, something that doesn't exist in our world, but could very well take prominence a few years in the future. This isn't even something that's necessarily out of line for RTD to do either. Take a look at Years and Years, something that starts in 2019 with the year in which it was released. However, over the next few years, you see the Lyons family go through the next several years in this kind of alternate timeline. So what if RTD is applying a similar thing to Doctor Who, allowing him to have greater flexibility with Earth as it exists without having to just reset to a vaguely 2023 modern day setting, as has limited showrunners before. Stephen Moffat himself has said that one of the things you kind of have to do with Doctor Who is make it so that contemporary Earth is reset in some way. So people can't remember the Daleks existing or the Cybermen existing, because otherwise it would get predictable. So what if RTD is setting it in the future to avoid that very problem? This could also explain some other minor discrepancies, like how in both the 60th and Series 14 it seems, UNIT seems to be back in full force with a full military operation, whereas just recently in Flux, UNIT was on the brink, and even in Power of the Doctor, when it seems like UNIT's become normal again, even that building gets destroyed during the events of Power of the Doctor. So this could explain why UNIT's fully rebuilt as an entity now after a few rocky years, because a few years have passed since we last saw them. My second theory for this, and this is one that's a bit more out there, but bear with me on this. Rose Noble isn't actually real, but rather a construct of the Toymaker's realm. This would explain why her age doesn't quite add up. This would explain her having a name based on one of the Doctor's previous companions, evoking strong emotional responses from him. And this could also be the perfect trap for Donna, as I could totally see her doing something in order to protect Rose that would put her in danger. And plus, we've already seen Rose get into sort of trouble with her being the person who interacts with Beep the Meep in the trailers. Presumably, she is going to be the one that gets double-crossed by him, as was the case within the comic story of the Starbase. This would also provide perhaps more of a moral implication for the 14th Doctor. Do you keep the Toymaker's realm around and keep Rose Donna's daughter alive, or do you let the Toymaker win, destroy this new realm, and let Ncuti Gatwa go off as the 15th Doctor? Or maybe there's some compromise between those two things. This wouldn't even be the first time that Donna has lost a proverbial family. In Silence in the Library Forest of the Dead, we see her kids that no longer exist, and how distraught she is over that fact. So perhaps the Doctor would be aware of Donna's sort of emotional trauma surrounding that, and would be willing to maintain this world so that Donna can have a daughter. This doesn't wholly fit in when you factor in that it seems as though Yasmin Finney is returning for Series 14, however, there are ways around that as well. The final theory I have, though, is something to do with the meta-crisis. Now, if you remember, the meta-crisis didn't just create a second David Tennant Doctor, it also was a two-way biological meta-crisis, implanting some of the Doctor's DNA within Donna, giving her his brain, essentially, as well as, for a brief moment, you see the regenerative energy in her eyes. So, with this theory, it could be possible that the regeneration energy she inherited via the meta-crisis could be passed on to her daughter. This could explain why she could look older than she should do in human years, because perhaps this isn't even her original incarnation, or even it could just be that Time Lords have a different aging process to humans. This is not the first time we've seen characters who aren't necessarily Time Lords, but pass on Time Lord traits through their circumstance, as was seen with Amy and Rory. Amy and Rory had a child conceived on board the TARDIS, which turned out to be Riversong, who is a fully fledged Time Lord with the ability to regenerate. So is it that far-fetched to suggest that possibly some of the Time Lord DNA Donna inherited during the meta-crisis could pass through to her daughter, Rose? But those are just some of my ideas for what this aging discrepancy could mean. Do you think it's just a mistake, or do you think there's more to it? I've seen a few people talk about this, and I just wanted to give you some of my ideas as to what this could mean for the future 60th anniversary and Russell T Davies 2 era. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to give it a like, comment down below your suggestions and theories in the comments below, and I will see you later.